Hey, Chat's dead. R.I.P. A.M. Sorry, I'm so out of Phoenix Downs. I can't revive you, Jay. But I hope you're having fun on the other side. So this was unplanned, but long overdue. I really wanted to talk about this. Had this discussion, so... Hey, Ralph. I hope you're having a great day as well. How is the sound? Do I sound low, music loud? Hey, Ellie. The mixer shows me that it's a little bit... The music is louder than my voice, but I'm not sure. Hey, don't put lyrics on my post rock. Come on. Where is iTunes? I have to skip this one. Could be a bit lower, but can still hear you. Hey, Quack. You cannot be with me. I have exams. Oh, good luck. Well, I'm gonna keep the video. That's why I can't chat that much. So those who want to hear the discussion will get it without skipping too much. Good luck to everyone. I really like to plan these. But my time isn't mine these days, so we'll have to do with what we have, I guess. So, as usual, I will be talking about the chapter. I'll talk about every section or the whole chapter, then check the chat, but I'll probably keep checking the chat as I go. If you have questions, comments, I'd love to hear them as well. There's a lot to say about this chapter because this was the start of a new arc after the grand finale of Volume 7, with the boys making up and accepting Grey. That's why this chapter gave me a little bit of time, needed a little bit of time thinking about it, where to start the following book. Hopefully the audio won't get muted from the music. Oh yeah, I know, right? I exported to YouTube anyway, so I might link that. How were the last two streams without the music, the background music? Was it ASMR-ish? Which I hate. Because I'm contemplating turning off the music. I got to hear the Jordanian blackbirds. Well, yeah. I feel so emotionally connected to the boys, so excited to see where the next volume is headed. Well, exciting places. I guess I'll keep the music. If the end video becomes muted, I will just move people to the YouTube, to the exported unlisted video. Which I hope won't be any problem. I hope the video actually records. Anyhow, how about we start? We're at 9 viewers. Little low with the Twitter announcement, Discord announcement, and Webtoon announcement, but it's to be expected, I think, at this time. So I guess I'll start. It's been live for 15 minutes though. Chapter 57. Before I started this chapter, I had to think a lot, as I said. We ended at a high with chapter 56, where the boys made up and jumped into the river. It started to get colored, so the biggest question was for me, would I want to start this book in color or not? The other question was, I kind of had an idea. I had an idea for the first 2 chapters. I had an idea of where the arc is headed, which is I want to show more about the boys' families, especially the fathers. At the same time, I needed the new monologue of what Grey is. So I had to think a little bit, where do I want to start this new arc and this new book in chapter 57? At first, I thought that it's logical to start the arc with Black and White each thinking about the word grey, which is now in chapter 58, if you've been reading up to date on the official website and Webtoon. So that was the logical thing, because the last book ended with them accepting Grey. But the thing is, had I started with the boys talking about Grey is, first chapter them talking about Grey is, second chapter let's go back to the past and talk about the fathers, it would have kind of cut the flow when I want to start with the third chapter, which is after the fathers chapter. That's why in the end I decided to start with the fathers, even though one of my friends who read as I finished the chapters thought that the whole arc is about the fathers, and she was very excited because she likes her old men, I guess. So I thought it's better to start with them, give a flavor of what's to come, and then go check on the boys, which was a smart decision in the end, because thinking about the past, thinking and writing about the past of these 2 old men, it's so out of my league, so out of my interest. I needed the brainwash that is chapter 58, to be honest. The innocence and everything that the boys are, innocent, pure, oblivious, stupid, I don't know. It was way better than thinking about these 2 guys' past. So yeah. The other thing that I was thinking about is the colors. Do I want to color the book or not? in the end, I decided that I'm gonna start the book in color because of this scene, because I'm talking about light. And it's best to show it in a blinding way through colors more than black and white. Even though black and white or grayscale would have been a good challenge, I decided to go with colored pages in the end. So this illustration was easy to come because it's just in the title. The one whose eyes are open and the one who turned a blind eye. And we start a monologue from Jad and the blinding blue light of an aquarium. Aquariums play a great deal, or there's 3 or 2 big scenes in an aquarium and 1 light-hearted scene, not big scene. Wait, we have 3. 2 in this chapter and 1 with the boys as teenagers, I want to say. Not teenagers. Around their 20s. The ocean panels are so iconic, important. Thank you. Also, welcome to the new viewers. I was really proud of this panel because I managed to do a reflection, which isn't easy. It's not a flip thing. You just have to redraw it, understanding how mirrors work. This monologue, I think, camped in my head throughout working on the end of volume 7. I really wanted to talk about this feeling of, and I could only talk about it. I'm not a person who parties or lives or experience this kind of wildlife, but I thought of it on a micro level as a person who used to spend their college days with all-nighters, headphones all the way at the highest volume, music, and then sometimes I would just sleep in and miss a prayer or two. I used to feel this heaviness, and I guess this is what helped me think of all this monologue, I think, and Jad's state of mind. This is one of the pages that I'm really happy with still, because I always feel that if they want to show in media, if they want to show a wildlife, they have their ways of colors and discos and dancing and then throwing up in the bathroom. It's something really messy and filthy, and it has this impact, I guess, but still it's overused to the point that it's not that shocking, I guess. So I tried here. I tried to express a lot of things with few images. It's not suffocating, it's just crowded. I also like to think a lot about the words that I use when the characters are trying to talk about their mental state, especially with Jad being a writer. Sure, he's a children's book writer, but he thinks like a writer, so he doesn't choose words like without thinking really about them. I guess I'll stop by here and then I'll check the chat. Maybe it's what's been preventing me from taking the blindfold off. And that's the thing. If you don't take a minute, and if you're in a situation that is not really your preference maybe, or if you're using it to run away from something, or maybe because you don't have anything to go towards, or you're running away from anything, you're just passing by and having fun. Sometimes you just, if you don't take a minute to think about your life, you're gonna keep the blindfold off, I guess. Self-reflection is a lost practice, I would say. My mother's sickness didn't open my mind. So for those who don't know, this image is about, it should tell you that Jad's mother has diabetes, so he got it from her. My father's death sure didn't. We never got to see White's grandfather. And then this, when she told me he's mine. I guess this is the first, not red flag, but this first kind of, for those who didn't read deeply into all the signs of White's mother. This is why I chose to end the update here, so that you would... Oh, okay. I remember in this panel, I drew it a different way. She had shorter skirt, very short skirt. And I just couldn't keep all those revealed legs, all these thighs in print. I worry about it every time I open the book, to be honest. I'm very reserved, for those who don't know, so... Not that there's anything about short skirts or anything, regardless of how I think about them. But when I drew them, it was just too out there for me. I was talking about this on Discord back when it updated for Patreons, and they did say that this choice showed her character better. So I guess win-win. Hey, Flower, Corey, and TK. I could look at these pages forever. They're really unique, and thank you. The color panels really shocked my system and changed how I viewed everything. I like everything always matters in the storyline, but it made me push more attention since I didn't see out in the original. Back to black and white was going back to normalcy and the confusion of what grey is. Yeah, I personally, I remember this is why I was obsessing over these pages. Clippings wasn't a thing back here. When I was working on these pages, clippings wasn't a thing at all. So I was really, just the same with the end of chapter 56, I was really worried about how the pages were gonna look, because I've never colored manga pages. So I was hesitant myself, to be honest, and I was really like, the sigh or the sigh of relief that I've exhaled once I reached these pages. I did try to make, so this part of Jad connects to this part, exactly. And in the page, this ends on the left side, and then you flip the page and you get this. So these are a lot of things that I think about when I lay out pages, even the printed book and how the experience of the reader who reads by the book. So I'm glad that you're with me in this, TK. I think there was a Mike Shinoda song that reminded me of this page. Really? That's exciting. I really think about writer Jad. I mean, in regards of choosing his words. That's good to keep in mind. Hey, Roy. It shocks me how young Clippings is compared to the books. Yeah, still a baby. Light-hearted baby. Thank you, Jay. You were just reading the manga. Where were you at? I hope all this isn't spoilers for you. So, getting back to this, excited kid White is really something. In my field of work, I meet a lot of kids. Yeah, he just carries the history of animals on his back all the time. And then we had Noir showing up, cutting the flow of the flashback of Jad's thinking. He wants a draft today. Have you called your editor? Okay. I think this whole... I'm trying to just refresh my memory if there were any comments here. I was on chapter 25. Those are major spoilers. Sure. Well, feel free to stay if you want. It's gonna be all teasers, but real big spoilers as well. If you don't mind, I have friends who don't mind spoilers. Excited adult white would be touching enough to make a person die from the feels. Oh my god, I know, right? Something hasn't read, just send anything. Okay, this is another thing, another surprise, shock. Like, he's my son, you don't know that for sure. We've seen enough of black and white fighting, so we got to see their fathers. And we slowly get to see where the passion and anger comes from, I guess. I think Noir is a lot since the minute he shows up, because he came in late to the story. And take this, like, don't take it too seriously, but every time I reread the chapters thus far, up until to chapter 60, I think, Noir is the character who, for real, shows a lot more than he tells for the reader. And I will get into that later in his section of this chapter. But you can see that he's showing that he's present in this family, with his family. He knows about his work. He's letting him crash in his apartment. You instantly see that he's not fond of the whole topic of Ia and White. Then you see that he's there with his family, but to a certain level. Like, he had to stop and think of how old Black is exactly. This page, the pages exploded my brain the best way. This is a panel that I drew and redrew more than once. If you've heard me say it or you've noticed before, I think a lot about... It's not that I think about it, actually. I just pay attention, unconsciously, without thinking, on hand placement. I don't just... Like, back in the day when I didn't enjoy drawing hands, yeah, I always shove them behind the character's back or in their pockets. But once I actually enjoyed them and observed them enough, I started to just put them in the most natural way. And how do you place hands between two lovers? As a person who was not that much into romance and more, I really don't... It wasn't really comfortable. This whole chapter wasn't really comfortable. But it was necessary. So, Noir being the voice of reason, Jad... I love their dynamic because there's a lot of honesty there, but you can feel that there is, from Jad's there is some truth to what he said. I feel sometimes there is some truth to what he says here. Noir, you wanna feel better about your life by taking care of that boy. It's not the truth, but you can see from the beginning of the chapter how he's sitting. He's just partying with his friend who has his life going while he just crashing here and there. Even the whole, he doesn't remember the editor calling, show him anything. Even his work, he probably isn't taking it seriously at that point. So he's just what one would feel like a failure. So yeah, maybe he did want to take a step to just, because sometimes when you want to take a step, you can't take a step for change with everything around you the same. You look for the furthest from your life and go there, I guess. Start there, because it's very different from everything that you're facing that you don't like. Did I hear the Sia at the door? Excuse me. Of course. Again, there's a chance that's my son, and Noir being extremely blunt, saying it's 50-50. And the whole discussion or argument or idea of, okay, if I want to save this boy, why does he have to be my blood to care? Because that's an important thing to think, to talk about, I guess. And again, the man who sees enough, who saw enough as a captain in the army, being a hero in the real world is far from charming. And then we get to the introduction of the orca, whether it's symbolism or it's just this imagery. It started bluntly here. And we see this very precious boy. Two names, orca. I remember when I wrote this like it wasn't a plan. I always connected white with orca, but I never thought it through. I don't like to think through everything when I come up with an idea that will show up later, because I like to keep myself excited as a creator. So I just think of something and I just put it. Like for black, it was a panda. Is there a reason? I don't know. Will I find a reason? Might. And will I put it in the story? And it will serve a bigger purpose. Yeah, if it was needed. So that's the same happened with this orca thing. It was for white, but then it was implemented very well as the story progressed. So especially here, when it's not just one name, it has two names, it was just fitting. And I was excited for that. So I'm gonna check the chat now. Try and wipe it from your mind. Go, Judd. Hey, Aishu. Is it okay if I seek an advice from you on manga making here? Well, maybe some other stream, because this stream has a topic in discussion of this chapter, so apologies. How the way Judd thinks about White, even if he couldn't be his son. Yeah. He was just really charmed by this boy. Chad is the best father. And then we move on to this place. And I finally found a way to censor the cursing. It's something that I really don't like to put in print as well, but the whole setting and the characters play a role. These pages move fast, but you get a glimpse of how deeply wrong, how deeply wrong White's past is. She ditched everything and left without paying the rent. Now here, God, please. Now this whole monologue here can be read as Jad talking to White. But for me, when I wrote it, I was thinking of him starting to talk to God here. I always wanted to go back, but I kept saying later. I kept thinking when I get older. Sometimes I forgot about you altogether. I did think about it from a person talking to God, but it also fits for White, so another happy accident in writing. Writing for me is just about accidents that makes me fall in love with the craft more and more, I guess. Don't call me if you stay dead. I always love how Noir just think of writers as dramatic. I don't know, I'm very amused by writing Noir. The home he was in was demolished. One of the things that I really liked, it was moving fast and it was very intense. You could say that it was a little bit dramatic, just like Noir is saying here. Especially with the it got, you know how it gets, you get it a lot in stories that it gets unnecessarily, not dramatic, but complicated for a character to reach their goal. And this is exactly what happened here. And I don't remember who said it, but someone left a comment that it's a lot of cliched or a lot of intense drama, but I'm very hooked and I'm feeling a lot, something like that. I got a comment on the website. I should have looked it up for this stream, but it was really encouraging, I guess. I sure took my time thinking about all these titles, all these names for what? Sorry, I scrolled. For all these, what's it called? Homes, orphanages. A week or so, God knows how long he's been there. God knows the damage. Again, with this, I'm trying to think back at how I came up with all this metaphor for light switches. It's just because I think it's a lot of people, when you stay in the dark, you keep waiting for light to come through. We often get to this point where we think we need someone to get us out or shine a light. When most of the time, and I want to say it's like 90% of the time, it's you who need to use the light switch before someone else, before even finding that there is someone else. Cliche is like an... For me, I wrote a tweet once that I don't remember because I had the Twitter app installed and I had a lot of drafts, but then I deleted the app and all the drafts were gone. That was like 2 years ago or something. But I wrote something about this, that I'm writing all the cliches in new ways. Because sometimes I feel like I'm doing that with even the characters black and white, even a lot of things that happen are just your everyday, not your everyday, your usual topics in media. But I'm telling them in a new way or in an unaddressed way, in a way that was never undressed before, I guess. Hey, Spectre. Um, we get to see here for how Noir, like, this is a nod at friendship, on how you, um, true, I'm not with you in this thing that you're doing, but I'm gonna help out with any way possible. I'll be there for you. This is a thing that you don't always get with family and partners that you're growing a family with. And this is a big topic that I want to write about because I talked about it before on Discord when it started last year. On how friendship is, you are who you are, and you do compromise and you do sacrifices, but for the most part, you can't give ultimatums. You can't, because in a romantic relationship, you kind of are building a future together. So when someone is doing something wrong, you're gonna stop them, and you either stop this wrong thing or I'm gonna leave. But in a friendship, no, you don't usually get that. I guess I thought about it even with black and white. When I was talking about it, I was talking about it, why black and white don't work as a romantic relationship, because it wouldn't have gone the way it is with Yeldar had White was a significant other, had White was a romantic partner, because he wouldn't just stand by and wait for Black to play his game. I'm not gonna, it's not a game, but I'm gonna refer to it that way. He wouldn't just say, okay, I'll stick by you, I'll mend your wounds while this other person is beating the hell out of you, you know? If it was a romantic relationship, there would have been drastic measures, and there would have been attacking and fighting and probably prison. In friendship, it's different. You can keep nagging at the wrong thing that a person does, that your friend is doing forever, but you can't. I guess it's good and it's bad. It's good for a friend, but it's bad for you if you are a friend, because you can't actually do something. Unless the person in front of you is extremely, like they're being a harm to themselves and others in a way that is way wrong, then you can end the friendship and then take a step, you know? It's a big topic. That's why I didn't mention it before, because I want to think about it more and write it. But yeah, this is one of the reasons that just black and white as a romantic, as a ship, don't work in this setting. A lot of things would just break. So yeah, these two as well. Noir is definitely 100% against Jad pursuing Ia and White, but still he is like, just give me an hour max, and it makes you wonder, what does this man do? How many higher ups can he reach to make this thing work? Mystery. He's the whole government. Probably. He's a spy. These pages. First things first. I remember Corey picked this up. The Open 24/7. It's a spread with a man pleading, talking to God, asking for help, and I just left everything here should be kind of blurred gradually, but I kept the Open 24/7 clear. It was fun, but I get tired of drawing scenes with a lot of people, because I don't like to draw just anyone. Even when I sometimes use brush with like existing characters, I still just use the the pose and draw the whole thing with like character, personality, and story. I like these two are just talking because it kind of rained and the sun started to set here, so they closed the shop and they're just chatting before each going their own way, and they left here. So time passing, a lot of people. I don't like drawing a lot of people. We have an Inad replica here. And in the end we get the message. Now these pages, oof. There are no words in the pages, so I guess there's nothing to comment on. Just the fact that I did need a little bit of brain to draw this. Someone running fast downhill. I talked about it on Discord. This panel. It's there's a word in Arabic, itab. It's where you are hurt by someone that you love, that you thought much of, and this word just has so much meaning in one word, because you're just like, where have you been? At the same time, I'm glad you're here. At the same time, it's a very gray word because there's a lot of feelings in one feeling, and I guess that's what White is feeling here. I drew this, I think, 6 or 7 years before I reached this page. So I was feeling really found as well, reaching this page, I guess. I've waited for you every day. I knew you'd come. The White as a kid is very inspiring. He just sees a thing, he wants it, he gets it. He's very stubborn and very serious with what he wants. I think we're all wishing for him to find that spirit again, to just pursue what he wants with this kind of perseverance and strength, I guess. I love Jad's prayer here so much. I'm impressed. Thank you. I read this page is November 2019, but I still can't look at these pages without shedding a tear. Spectre. That's true, it's a vague word. And then this small thing here, when you realize that White did all this and reacted in this way while thinking he's gonna go back to the orphanage. It's kind of a slam in the face, I guess. Because he's like, when are we going back? He was expecting that he came for a visit and he made all this show. Makes you wonder, if he knew he's coming to pick him up, what more could he done, you know? And yeah, this page, heart-wrenching page of White just... It's a very deep... we as adults, we look at it, and Jad as well, look at it and can see the depth, but seriously, kids do things and say things without thinking, but they're just mountains of feelings and mountains of of understanding. I'm always very shocked at being or talking around with kids. They have much wisdom, and when they're really hurt, they say so many things that are gut-wrenching, with the simplest way and with the straightest face, I guess. Hey, Tam. So yeah, baby's tired. He doesn't want to be an orca again. I was thinking of naming my rabbit Orca. One of the names on the list. Looks still and safe. I guess it's too tiring to jump, and maybe he connected to his true self here. Who knows? And then Jad forgetting about masculinity or toxic masculinity and just breaking in front of this young boy. Another thing that is sad is how White instantly goes to I'm sorry, like he's done something wrong that is making Jad break down like this. Thank you for saving me. There isn't much to say here. I'm trying to remember if there's anything that I've struggled or thought about, removed or added. I know that I struggled with this kind of pants because I don't draw it often. Black is gonna design something with an orca, you know it? You think? You think? Huh. I'm a man who's broken so many hearts. I still get messages from people who wonder about Jad and his past and stuff. And I guess we've watched a lot of stories enough to the point where we think there's more and there's bigger and there's worse things that a person can do. But when you think about it, real life, if you heard about a man who flirts with this woman and gives this woman some hopes, even if he doesn't give hopes, but if you treat a girl nicely and that another girl nicely, and every time you go to this shop you remember this girl, and a lot of people build dreams upon other people who act or who treats them as a way that treats them in a way that makes them feel special. You can't just forget about that. Like, somebody pays attention to you and remembers your name when you're just a passerby. They kind of stick. So he can be just a person who was fooling around with a lot of women here and there, and that does break hearts. It could be more, but it could be just little things. It doesn't make them less problematic, less bad than doing something really awful to a large number of people, you know? So yeah, and this ends Jad and White's flashback. One of my fave hugs for the father and his son. White learned a lot from this hug, because it's exactly how he hugged Black up on that building when he wanted to stop him from jumping. Just grab and hug. He learns fast from his father. The sequence of White's expression is something I've lived through times and times again. He can't believe it. An orca, it's black and white. Baby White breaks my heart. The cheek squish. We are very numbed by media to realistic pains. Yeah, that's what I think about. Especially with Jad. I talked about it here because a lot of people keep asking me, like, what he's done, how was he an awful person, and like I've showed it in volume 5, like it's way past this point when they go to the toy store and Jad is just flirting with this girl at the counter. I guess old habits die hard, but yeah, it still hurts all the same. I was gonna say that this part, I guess in chapter 48, manga, chapter 48, where do we go from here, I guess, is... So, this panel here from chapter 48 is the same when he promised White that he would tell him about all his affairs and stuff from there on out. Wait, what? You promised you'd never keep secrets from me except for your affairs. Yeah, secrets, I mean past secrets, because it was a given that he's not gonna fool around again after getting White. So. I remember I want to wait because I was checking the Discord for this channel from last year. I remember Corey's what did I say, the 24/7 minute 24/7 minutes 24/7 sign. This was a thing I shared once from volume 5, how White still sometimes showed the orca side, and then when Black doesn't remember him, he turns to the other fish. I also shared this from chapter 6, pushing my when Black and White had that heart to heart in chapter 43, I guess, in the middle of the night, when White told Black that pushing myself to perfection, pressuring myself to not disappoint anyone, killed every feeling or passion I once had, and I just drew an orca over. That's how, I guess, being abandoned for that long made him the boy that just instantly apologizes. Like here, when someone is crying and hugging you, your not first reaction isn't "I'm sorry." But that's what happened. He just got scared, unintentionally. Jad was stuffed with so much junk. Each time I look at the panel with him almost lost in the heap of things that is cracked beneath him, I get this feeling of wanting to gag when there is nothing to throw up. It's just, again, the way Uvegdi's state of mind is effective. Thanks. I did give a lot of thinking for that panel, so I'm glad that you mention it. White associates Jad's hug with kindness and learned to imitate it and made it his own way of showing affection, a very human thing to do. Another thing I shared, another thing to comment here is the aquarium. This is from, I think, 2000, I want to say 2011. For those who missed it, Black and White were in the same elementary school. So there's a field trip to an aquarium, but being in a small city as their hometown, It's probably just one aquarium in the city or close by. So, you can imagine how White feels, how excited White feels to go with Black to this aquarium that kind of changed his life. I want to find the other act of friendship. I don't remember what it was. The other clipping with Black and White in it's easier to find it on Webtoon, to be honest. Then there it is, about an act of friendship. This one. This is another visit to an aquarium. That could be the aquarium, the same aquarium. So it's a place, just like Jad's house, just like the building where they jumped off. Another piece in their friendship. We had frog legs, for those who don't know, for those who know from Discord. She shared this once. I hate how Clip Studio doesn't understand rotate clockwise. She shared this from this panel. She cropped this panel. She showed this panel and said that if this isn't if this isn't a proof of biology or genes, I don't remember. I don't know what is, because she thinks that it's the same look that White gets when he's angry. And I kind of agree. Oh, they went together. Yes, they went together. White essentially made himself inhuman and then penalized himself when he wasn't. Black suffers from being too human. They're both so stunned in opposite ways. I love them both. That's, in a nutshell, that's the whole story. I like how you put it. So that's canon. Yeah, that's canon. You didn't know? It's the one from chapter 9. So, where did I lose? Did I lose the Webtoon one? I did. So this panel is from chapter 9. Memory fragment. It's this exactly scene. Remember when they jumped and White was breaking and stuff? Then it follows with this page. So this is this. Just saying. Yeah. One last thing before we move to the other two dorks. Spectre shared this photo on Discord from chapter 30, from chapter 40, when White is talking to Jad. Can I ask for something? And Jad says anything. That's when he talks about the name changing thing. She just posted this and said Jad really means anything. And he did mean anything. He would do anything to get this boy. He put everything on the line to get to have this boy, and he will provide the best way he can. This is the sound of Corey's head explode. Just saying. My just sayings are just... So yeah. White is so desperate, and Black is taken aback the first time and looks stunned the second time underwater. It's a scene. It's an important scene. So yeah, let's go back and meet the other two. This part of the chapter, the Noir Black part, the one who turned a blind eye. This is very short and very not lighthearted, but I mean, very... It's just a scene, you know? But there is a lot in it about Noir, about Black, about this whole dynamic and the family situation as well. Black's ranting is inspired by my best friend's kid. At the time, she used to just talk endlessly about something, and then if you cut her off or she cuts herself off, she wouldn't go back to what she's saying. So don't ask me what the dentists say, because I have no idea. One of the things that are interesting, and which I didn't find anybody mentioning it. So the way it's playing this scene, the first part, is him having this apple, and Noir is already having the fruits in the blender. And then he asks, want a smoothie, till the food arrives, and actually makes the boy pick the fruit that he wants, and he tells him that it's not available, so what would you want? And he said some berry, but he already has the smoothie ready. So here's a personality thing shown, not told. So it's just another time to show you that Noir was kind of involved with his kids' lives. Rita isn't coming this time because she has a dentist appointment, which tells you that they come often. Even when he asks about Yaldar, why didn't he come? Why didn't he come up? It means that he actually does. If he's asking, then it's not the norm. And yeah, that's the kid's logic, playing with a horse and a plane. It starts out so cute and light and ends with my heart hurting. I understand deflection until they forget their concern. It's something I've had to correct in my own life so it doesn't happen in real life. That's really impressive, admirable, because yeah, there's a lot of reasons that are not yet shown in the story for how is it that the family didn't see, and there is a lot of lack of attention for sure, but also for real, life is so weird. Sometimes things do happen around you without you noticing. Especially in this setting, okay, he didn't remember later and ask Violet, but if Violet didn't bring it up, so it's nothing. She probably knows the story. Okay, let's move on. It's a very, very, very normal adult thing to do. And the more I grow up, the more I realize where this mentality comes from. And I personally try to remind myself not to like fall prey to that attitude. That comes just with age. Especially if you have a lot of things to take care of. It's easy to just lose control over one part. And it's really sad when it's your children. They're always so natural. You don't spell things. Oh my god, I'm really glad to hear that. I don't think much of dialogue, but I do worry about my dialogue. Now, looking back at the older chapters as I edit them, I do see a lot of problems that I'm fixing, but I don't know about how they are now. So you telling me that is encouraging. Thank you. I guess I thought a lot about the characters and the setting and the befores and afters. That's why I have a lot of doodles and a lot of short stories, because I do think about what happened before, what happened on the car ride, what happened at the dentist, how does Rita feel about not joining Black here, how does Yaldar feel about dropping Black to his father's house and just leave him. A lot of things I think about all the time while I'm just lining or drawing or so I guess that's how, when eventually a dialogue happens, it just feels like there's a lot of things behind this one line. So it's good to know more about your story, even if you don't show it, I guess. Has Noir found a way how Yaldar hurt Black? Has Noir found out how Yaldar hurt Black? He learned last book in one of the chapters, I guess. But it just hinted here and there, nothing that big. One of the things that naturally happened is this tendency of Black to just hide his hands, play with his hands. It isn't something that I intentionally decided, but I picked it up while I was working on Volume 9. He was in a situation where someone is asking him something that made him uncomfortable, and he's trying to not tell the truth. And I drew him covering his hand with his sleeve, and suddenly I realized, didn't I draw that before? And I went back to here and I found it. So another thing that is interesting when it happens like that. It's pink. I'm not Larissa. Excuse Black's at the time. Black's gender stereotypes. So, again, it's very entertaining to write Noir because he's just a big dumb. Not dumb, but like just oblivious. It's fun to write these characters. So he wanted to beat around the bush without saying it out loud, but then he goes and says, "Is anybody bullying you at school?" This line alone shows you that the option that is something is happening at home isn't there, even though he's not at home. It's completely foreign to him. Completely not an option that something is happening at the house. So it's school. Yeah, I guess the rest of it is, you can feel the hurt about the topic unaddressed, but the rest of it is just showing how comfortable Black is with his father. And what a big silly he is. He's just that confident. He's a confident kid. I guess that's another thing that makes you feel like it can be something happening at home, or it can be because he's just normal. He's just very outgoing and confident around them. Just the way his expressions and his this expression, for example, and the way like, oh, I'm testing you. He doesn't look like a broken kid who is timid and hiding that thing, you know. I was talking about this the other day on Discord, how he's imitating White. He's telling him about the jump, how White screamed, "Stop! Don't do it!" and then came all cool, and then we walked, and then we jumped, and yay, and we got out, and we talked under the tree, stuff like that. And he just got excited with his kid. That sparked a discussion on Discord about how did he tell the story? Like, why was he on top of a building wanting to jump? And I said how Black probably first he was sold on the idea that it was a stupid thing to think about running away or jumping off the building. At the same time, it's easy for a kid to think that he was the one doing wrong when he was like scolded or beaten or whatever. So he just probably found a way to just tell the story, the cool part of the story, without mentioning the details. And as we see in this very small section, Noir wouldn't really pay attention to details. He would just take what was given as it is. Why would something happen at home? He has someone looking out for him after. Exactly. Yeah, his big bro is looking after him. Hakuna Matata. Exactly. I guess that's it for the chapter. I just remembered something right now that I forgot to mention at the time, which is Noir's fingers, because I have this doodle open because like father like son, they both have meals. Picking the skin around their nails. Are you going to give more of a backstory of Black's siblings? Or of course. Listen, this book is from chapter 57 till chapter 63, and you will get a lot. You can ask those who read it. You're gonna get a lot. And the book I'm working on right now, volume 9, you're gonna get even more from the siblings and from Black's memory and White's 2-year disappearance. There's a lot of things coming. Given his nature, his occupation, he needs to be desensitized to push forward, I guess. That's a very powerful line, Tam. I write a lot about Noir. Things that I write a lot about the backstory of the fathers, which will probably never see the day. Like, no, I will never share them, even though I talked to my friend Amy, because she likes to draw older men, and I told her that if I ever wrote it as a novel, you're gonna be the illustrator for it. I write a lot about Noir to understand, because if you want to be this good at your job, there are things. There are certain qualities that you gain as a human that kind of leads to this pattern of behavior. And one thing I wrote about when I pictured, I looked out this documentary about a certain thing to understand more the mentality of a military captain. And in, I don't know, 80s, not 80s, 60s maybe. And I found out some really cool things. And then I thought about a lot of, like, I when I projected them, or yeah, when I put them in Noir, I found out a lot of cool things about him that I want to tell at certain point in the story. So I was in the process of finding out how and who, because I just don't want to do exposition. I want to make it natural. This is how I write. I found this cool information, especially when it's a cool piece of information. I want to put it in the story. How do I put it in a way that I'm not just telling you? It's just gonna come natural. So who's gonna say it? Because Noir isn't the person who's gonna go around tell people about his past. But it will flesh out his pattern of behavior a lot more when you understand his field of work. So that's why I like what you said, given his nature, his occupation. His occupation plays a big role in a lot of things happening, sadly. It's amazing how full this book is. I need the next volume. It's like volume 5, the sequel in a way. Hey, VH. Disappearance, you say? I do say. Can I put this here? White grabbing him the first time was a cry, for he wanted someone to understand him, a burst of emotion. He hugged Black for comfort. The second time, his pleading because of Black. Black is his priority, his anchor. Now Black is his world that he doesn't want to lose. I need to read, of course. Not off track at all. It really all fits together because White is always involved in any character I talk about. But yeah, Spectre said earlier, shout out or something like that, shout out to Noir, who saved White's life, and that's exactly it. If you think about it, how you're presented in Volume 5 on how Jad played a role in destroying Violet's life, by extension, Black's family, when Noir is the person who actually built White's family for him, or found White's family for him. So that's a contrast that kind of happened, probably intentionally, but I don't remember. But it was cool to just pick it up. For me, I just think that it played out this way because for the most part, I feel like Noir knows what he's doing. Even he doesn't intentionally do the bad things, but he knows what he's doing. When Jad, in this chapter that we just discussed, was lost for the most part with his decisions, with his relationship with Ia, with his interactions with White, and you'll know more. You'll find out more. Should I say the chapter number, or leave it to just drop like a bomb for those who hasn't read that chapter? There is a chapter that people who want to know more about White are gonna love, hate. Just that. Lucy once said that I was telling her something, and I said, "No, I love everyone. I just hate you." And so you can love the chapter and hate me afterwards. Don't say the chapter. I'm not gonna say the chapter. I'm gonna leave it to drop like a bomb on you all. But yeah, I guess that's all for chapter 57. I hope you enjoyed these thoughts. If you have questions or predictions or things that you're looking forward to, or didn't understand, we can talk about that for a bit and then I'll end the stream. But let me close stuff. The chapter. Yes, the chapter. I did share another thing that I shared when we discussed this chapter, because we did get into the whole is white Jad's biological son. And then Frog said that she picked up that eye panel and said that, yeah, that's proof. That's her proof. So I'm like, I have more proofs if you want. This panel with this panel. Father and son. And on the other end, since we're talking about the same duo, two duos, we have this kid with this kid, with this bear kid. I want white Aisha time. Aisha, White's grandmother. I want that too. White needs more women in his life. So yeah, that's your biology lesson for the day. Yeah. Soon we'll have chapter 58 finishing, so we're gonna get another discussion stream, which will be way less chatty, I think. There's not much to say there. The adult best friends trio and the younger generation, Black, White, Amir trio. Yeah. Amir, Wasim too. Black, White, Wasim. Amir, may he rest in peace. I forgot my point. Hey, Mira. So, if you like these kinds of discussions, the Discord is there. Nightbot, just throw a link above. Join and chat. Don't feel timid. All opinions are welcome. I'm gonna be screaming about Black. It won't be quiet. Yeah, he will be. And cupboarding White. There are a few things that are fun about that chapter. Chicken legs. I'm gonna show your chicken legs post. Jay. Anyhow. Thanks a lot for coming. I hope this was fun. Sorry again for the very unplanned discussion stream. Hopefully next time I'll have it planned. Thank you for coming. See you around, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.